Morning, everyone, and it's great to be here talking about this topic of innovation without courage. My name is Outi Styyper. I come from Sitomo, which is a Finnish-based company that specializes in building strong and resilient organizations. And at the core of Sitomo is psychological safety and courageous leadership. And today I'm joined with Ilona, and in a few minutes she'll share more about her background. But great to be here. A few words about myself. I'm a learning designer and coaching consultant at Sitomo, and I've been working here a bit over 2 years now, and I've had the privilege of seeing many companies in Finland, but also companies that work globally, and being able to help them to develop psychological safety and different things. Sometimes it's about feedback, and sometimes it's about leadership development. But something that is close to my heart is professional learning and development, and I think part of that is this idea of courage, and for me it's something that it's not a personality trait. It's more about skills and mindsets that we can all develop. And of course, in the context of work, why we need courage is that we have all these complex challenges that we are facing in the working life, but also we need more innovations, more ideas how to develop the business or develop collaboration and develop organizational cultures. So I think we are in the heart of all that. But please, Ilona, would you like to share a few words about yourself? And it's so great to have you here with us this morning.
Thank you, Outi. Yeah, what should I say about myself? I'm very, very passionate about leadership in general. And due to my experience in the past and present, I am actually working on the process of trying to help Estonian leaders to maybe improve their leadership skills. And I'm doing that in the Association of Estonian People Managers, which is called PARE. I am there a volunteer in the Leadership Quality Working Group. But I have a lot of practical experience from the past, where I have been leading teams in different organizations and also in different countries. So this topic about psychological safety in organizations is very close to my heart, as I have experienced also different organizations where it has, in some of them it has been very sort of good in some teams, and in some it has been challenging. So as also a lecturer at the Tallinn University of Technology, where I teach students, I want to make a difference. So about 5 years ago, I got to know Sitomo, and over the years we have been in contact, and now this is a very, very nice opportunity to come and introduce something that Sitomo has started in Finland, and I hope we can also take this and share it in Estonia, at least start the discussion and see where it goes with that.
Yeah.
So that's it from my side.
Yes, it's very exciting, and no one knows yet what the collaboration can look like and will look like, but we are really looking forward to strengthen the collaboration between Finland and Estonia. So great to have you all with us this morning. To start with, if we think about innovation and all the great groundbreaking ideas that or inventions that there has been in the history. And of course, there are many starting from the electric, the having the light bulbs and all that, and phones and medicines, and there are so many that the list goes on. But it all has started with someone who was brave enough and felt safe enough to speak up, to voice their thoughts, opinions, ideas. And that's kind of in the heart of innovation. That do we have those people, first of all, who have the ideas, but do they feel that it's okay to share? Or are we building companies and that kind of working culture as well, where people feel that either their voice doesn't matter, or then if they say something that they will be punished or humiliated, or it's not safe for them to speak out loud. So I think that's kind of the question for this webinar, that how can we build cultures where individual courage can meet together with that psychological safety of the company, of the organization, of a team, so that we don't lose all that potential that people have with them, and understanding that those people who are doing the work and doing kind of being there, whether it's with the customers or using and working with the processes or projects that the company has, depending of course of the context, are we making sure that those people have the opportunity, have the space to develop, to innovate, and have that freedom and safety to speak out? So that's what we need. We need two things. We need those individuals who feel brave enough, but then of course what we all can do and where we all can contribute is that psychological safety. How do we build that kind of atmosphere where everyone, including ourselves, can speak up, share our thoughts and ideas? Many times when we speak about innovation, we think all those big issues and big life-changing or business-changing things, but innovations can be smaller, of course, and it can be, just tuning the process or the way of collaborating that we do every day at work. And if we can get that kind of learning process and development process started, then what can happen? I mean, I think people have more potential than many times we get to see at our workplaces. Well, here's the famous quote of Amy Edmondson, who has been researching this topic for a long time. And like I said, the thing that keeps people silent is the fear of punishment, humiliation, or something that people feel that it will backfire if they speak up. But then why we need psychological safety in our companies and in our organizations is that we need to build that belief that people are not punished or humiliated speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes, because that part is also crucial, that if people are covering up when they do mistakes or something happens, then we might end up with the bigger problems. But if we have a company culture where people can share, okay, I raised my hand, I made a mistake, and that's fine, and no one is punished for it, then we can help people to grow, to learn together, and the collaboration and the quality of work goes up. But if we end up people kind of hiding in the shadows and covering up their mistakes, then it will harm the business in the long run. But as you can see, this quotation is kind of from the negative side of things. And we have turned this into more positive looking one. So we could also say that psychological safety is a belief that one is expected, valued, thanked, and celebrated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or even mistakes. So do we have that expectation of each other when we are collaborating together, that we expect people to voice their opinions, their observations, their questions and concerns, and no one has to hide their thoughts? And that's when we get to this point and where we have this kind of atmosphere where people feel that they can speak up, it builds trust, it builds the community, and people feel that they belong and they take more responsibility of the work. So with without a doubt, it's very important aspect to look at. And even though this is a concept that has taken more ground lately, I think there's still a lot to do with it and a lot of work to be done, both in Finland and Estonia and all over the world, just to really dig deep. What does it mean in our company, in our organization? How do we build this kind of atmosphere and trust? But many times people confuse this idea of psychological safety, that it means that we are aiming towards this kind of harmony, and people are thinking the same and agreeing about everything, and everything is comfortable and nice. But actually, it means that we are kind of aiming towards this kind of intellectual friction, and we are not afraid of it, because we understand that in order to develop and in order to make those innovations, we need to kind of collide and have all the ideas on the table and have that debate about things and ideas. But what we are aiming towards is that the kind of social frictions are not hindering that collaboration and development process. So it's very important to understand that when we talk about psychological safety, we are talking about things that are hindering people to collaborate, to speak, to have conversations, discussions, whatever it is that we need them to do in order to meet the goals of the company or of the business that we are in. Ilona, any thoughts, ideas at this point before we move on?
Let's just move on. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's very clear at the moment.
Yes. Well, just to look a bit the history of psychological safety in research and how this has kind of come up as a concept, and why it kind of came about. And it all started in the 60s with Edgar Schein. He was researching companies, and the idea there was that why some teams are learning faster than others. And then Amy Edmondson in the 90s, I think she kind of brought it up to the limelight, that what it is and how it is important. And even she was surprised that, okay, there is a word for this concept, why some teams and companies are doing better than others, and why in some hospitals people are more open about their mistakes and the concerns that they have about the job. And that's when she kind of rediscovered this concept of psychological safety. And of course, then the project Aristotle at Google made the concept of psychological safety even more famous. And few kind of key findings of all these, I think the importance what Edgar Schein did in the 60s is about the kind of understanding that when people are feeling safe enough in their teams and in their organizations, they are more eager to learn, because their focus is not in kind of self-protection mode, but their focus is on the work that they are doing and on the goals that they are trying to achieve. And that's why their minds are more open towards learning and new knowledge, and they are not afraid of going towards the unknown. And I think in the kind of recent climate or we are living in, whether it's financial or geopolitics or and even just the working life in general, we need that kind of people who are willing to learn and are able to learn, and they don't feel that they have to protect themselves, but they are focusing on the work and on the goals that we are trying to achieve. And then from Amy's research, I think the 4 domains of psychological safety highlight this as well, that she has divided the concept onto these 4 topics of inclusivity, diversity. How do we make sure that everyone feels that they belong in the community and that everyone feels welcomed? Then second, the willingness to help. That is there that happening in the team? And if not, then it is a sign of weaker psychological safety. Then the attitude to risk and failure, and then open conversation. And if we then again go back to the topic of innovation and courage, these 4 build the foundation for individuals to act more courageously, to speak up, voice their ideas and opinions in the team. And then a few notions from the Google Aristotle project. They found that there is these 5 kind of attributes or characteristics of a team that is performing well or better than the other teams. So high quality collaboration consists of these 5 things, and the first and most important of their findings was the notion of psychological safety, so that the team members feel that it's safe to take risks and be vulnerable in front of each other. And also coming back to the topic of innovation, it is very vulnerable to speak up and share your ideas, especially if it's something that is very new and something kind of out of the box that is not, people are not used to thinking that way, or no one has ever said that kind of idea aloud. So how do we build a team and a company where people can have this kind of attitude? And the answer is that we need to go through building psychological safety. But of course, dependability, structure, clarity, meaning of the work, and having some kind of impact is crucial as well. But the thing that rise the most in this research was the topic of psychological safety. Well, all that said, in Sitomo, we felt also that we want to understand this topic more, especially in the context of Northern Europe and Finland. So we did our own research as well a few years ago, 1.5 years ago. And the thing that we found out was that the impact of psychological safety is huge on individuals' psychological capital. And the concept of psychological capital is very well researched as well. It's a concept that there is a measurement for that, and many organizational psychologists use. It's something that shows how people, how perseverant they are, how they are goal-oriented or not, how well they are taking responsibility of the work, and how committed they are. And of course, if we look at from the company's point of view, we want people who have high psychological capital to work for us, because those people are doing more, well, not necessarily more, but their commitment to the work is better than those with lower psychological capital. And what our research data showed, that in those teams that has strong psychological safety, it automatically kind of increases individuals' psychological capital. And then leadership has effect on both. But then through psychological safety, the leader's impact for psychological capital is even stronger. So this is, well, I think good news and bad news for those of you who are leading teams or companies, that focusing on psychological safety is so important. if we want to see people doing the best they can at work. And if we forget to take care of this topic and this atmosphere and this trust in our companies, the results or the effects that it has on the kind of business as well can be detrimental. So it's very important to take care of this and build it, try to understand it and help people to understanding and take responsibility of it. One thing that kind of came about of this research that we did was this tool, how to measure psychological safety. We call it Safety Steps, and there is a whole certification program for it if you are interested in using it. But these are the 7 topics that we can find results on and we can measure, and it all together shows how strong the psychological safety is in the team. So these 7 here are the domains that came about from our research, and then we added the domain of leadership and organization to it as well. But if you want to hear more about it, please feel free to connect with us and we'll gladly tell you more. But just wanted to tell you about this so that many times when we talk about psychological safety, it is something that is those hidden things in the organization, but there are ways how to make those things visible as well, and this kind of measuring tool is one option for doing that. But the thing to remember here that when we measure things, it's not about the numbers, but it's about the discussion that the numbers can kind of stimulate. And the numbers are never the absolute truth, but it shows something that shows the kind of trend that there is in the team or organization. And the kind of thing that we need to focus most on is the meaning that people give to the topic and how they voice their feelings and beliefs and mental models about psychological safety. Yes, I think that's about it, and the kind of experiences that we've had about using this tool in different organizations and teams is that in many cases it is the collaboration and communication that has the lowest numbers, and it shows how vital it is to develop how we communicate with each other in our teams, and how do we reflect and develop the collaboration between people and also between teams as well in order to get the best results with our people. And final picture before I'll let Ilona continue about the experiences in Estonia. Or like I said, it's so easy to confuse psychological safety with something that is just nice and comfortable. But this is not what we are aiming towards, this comfort zone. But we want to achieve, of course, in our companies, the kind of learning and high productivity zone. And it comes when we are able to connect the strong psychological safety with high performance. But if we are only aiming towards high performance, we end up very easily to creating anxiety in our companies. People feel stressed, they feel alone, they start to optimize their performance. They are not willing to help others because they feel that it's away from them and they are just looking for their goals and their personal benefits. And of course, if we don't pay attention, we can create also this kind of apathy and cynicism in our companies where people are not feeling well, but they are not performing well either. So this matrix can kind of help you to navigate where you are with your team or with your company, and then find the answers. That if you find yourself here on the lower side, then you need to build and develop the psychological safety part, make that stronger in order to get your team here on the upper parts. But then, of course, trying to avoid the comfort zone, but aiming towards the learning and high productivity part as well. Yes, but now, Ilona, would be wonderful to hear how it looks like in Estonia. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Odie, for a very inspiring presentation. Yes, mm, as a, I am an optimist, and when I decided that okay, we need really to focus on psychological safety in Estonian organizations, because I have been hearing, and not only hearing, because I talk to different people in organizations, whether they are the leaders themselves or they are HR people. Then what I hear is that um, I hear that leaders are very, I would say, they question what should I do, because now we are in a situation where they feel that the psychological they have done everything in order to create this psychological safety, and still they feel the people say that I can't take more, I'm already so stressed, I'm overloaded. So there is this big question mark for the leaders. Okay, how do I go on from here, especially now with the hybrid working and and also discussion, maybe we should go back to the offices. So all this from the leader's side is a bit fuzzy, especially for those who have understood that there has to be something has to change in their own leadership behavior. On the other side, when we listen to the teams and people, they say that, well, my opinions are not discussed, or my ideas maybe are not listened to, or I am not listened to, and I don't feel that I am seen. So all this creates the feeling or perception that okay, what am I doing here? So this is the background information. So and that's why I think that with Sidama, we can extend the research what you have already done, and we can try to find out if these things are the same or better or worse in Estonia, in order to start the dialogue with Estonian organizations about developing or creating more psychological safety in our organization. So I went to look for hard evidence research data. To my quite a big surprise, I didn't find too much information, especially on psychological safety in Estonian organizations. I found a few, and I have actually put together from these different researches some these quotes that I'm going to share with you, and then later you can also reflect and think, what does it mean if this is what we learn about Estonian organizations. At first, in Estonia, legally, there is, of course, the requirement is to assess psychosocial risk factors. Everybody is doing it because it's part of a required activity. And psychological safety is actually part of engagement. It fits into engagement. And when I looked for the examples, then I tried to link psychological safety to leadership, and also to different working models, and also to engagement. And I have here outlined a few questions that I wanted to find answers for. So, who is accountable for psychological safety? Are the leaders, or are those team members? So more in the research that I found, the reference is made to leadership, because they describe in their research what type of leadership is creating an environment where people can feel that they are trusted, they are listened to, and although they don't mention this term psychological safety, they, in some cases, they mention innovation. Because one research that I found was about a fintech company in Estonia, where their innovation was very high on the list, that they had to be innovative in order to bring out new solutions or new services. Then the other thing that I found was this engagement elements. Is it enough if I am engaged on my own, or do we need the whole team to be engaged? So that was the other thing. And then there was this stress, the relationship between stress and psychologically safe environment, and what happens to the teams if they can't handle stress or if they can handle stress. And then also an interesting work on innovation in hybrid working model. So now I am sharing with you those findings. We can always question, is it enough in order to make certain conclusions? My point here is that we don't want to make any conclusions. We want to highlight what are the findings at the moment, and to see if it is a topic that we could start discussing and maybe bringing more to the table in the heads of leaders, but not only leaders, also everyone, meaning that the teams, the people themselves who work in a team. So the one of the works was focusing on finding connections between resilience and the perceived effectiveness of teamwork. So the author conducted an empirical study, and what was interesting for me there was that she had qualitative and quantitative data, but it was 15 teams, 15 Estonian companies, both public and private sectors, and they were not too small. They were more like medium and big companies. And she had interviewed, and she got the answers to her questionnaires from CEOs, from COOs, from HRs. So it was quite, for me, it was quite reliable outcome. So what she said, or what she found out, that, well, some of the things, or most of them we know, of course, trust in relationships among the team members is in high correlation with synergy and microclimate. Then open-minded, innovation-embracing teams are better in facing challenges or avoiding problems, taking preventative actions. So here the innovation is already included, yeah? Teams that embrace innovation and are open-minded. Teams that are accountable to achieve agreed common goals and have shared leadership are more innovative. So they tend to learn together. So in this process, the way they operate, they are already learning from each other and from the process itself. So the conclusions, and she is the one and only from my tiny research I made, in her conclusions, she brings in the term psychologically safe work environment. And it is, I'm now translating, democratic leadership style that is democratic, is respecting employees and engaging, is creating psychologically safe work environment where employees feel that they are appreciated and they are not afraid of making mistakes. Psychological safety creates good microclimate where employees are not afraid of expressing their opinions and making mistakes. In this type of environment or organization, the relationships between people are open and supportive towards each other. So that type of work environment is part of positive organizational culture and is also the foundation for resilience of the team members. So then she makes a number of proposals how to improve resilience, because as you remember in the beginning, she is researching resilience and the perceived efficiency to team performance. So she is saying that promote transparent organizational culture, a democratic management style, and a positive microclimate. Train and develop employees, thereby increasing employees' skills, knowledge, and self-confidence in carrying out work processes. And the third, the main sources of work stress that inhibit retention should be identified and mapped in the organization, and thus solutions to problem areas should be found. Okay, the second, hybrid working model, challenges and solutions of Estonian managers. I am not stopping too long on this. The previous research was from last year. This one is from 2021. But here, the author is pointing out that slowed down innovation. If in the hybrid working model, innovation may slow down, and then in the thesis or in this research, this author is providing some ideas how to bring it back if people are working in a hybrid form. So some of them are, of course, things we already do and know. One is using digital collaboration platforms, boards where everybody can contribute, promote cross-functional collaboration, remove silos, encourage sharing of ideas and experiences, make sure learning activities will continue and knowledge will be shared, and create opportunities for thinking, focus, and reading time. Promote culture of trial and learn. And then the third one I'm pointing out here is the influence of work motivation factors and strategies on employee performance. This is a study in a fintech company in Estonia. And here, from the study, it was concluded something that is, we know that it is important. So providing employees with meaningful work, providing opportunities for skill development, providing regular feedback, recognition, and reward, and fostering a supportive work environment. So these are effective strategies for increasing work motivation in organizations. Maybe I am just to finish my conclusions. Maybe there was not too much new information, but in my interviews that I hear or I reflect back to you is that very often in the companies, it is considered that psychological safety is individuals' responsibility And the way it has been managed is that, let's take Stebby. Stebby is a platform where companies provide certain financial resources for employees to take care of their physical and mental health. And very often, especially in small and medium size organizations, this this is carried out in a way where employee can book certain sessions with a psychologist, and the company's leadership is thinking that that's a way how to solve this challenge. Or we have done everything. We have given these benefits. Now you go and take care of yourself. So the point here is that it's not going to give you the result of psychological safety in an organization, in a team. It's good to do that, of course, but we need to talk more in a more broader sense of psychological safety, where everybody understands that the relationships between the team members are very, very important. How we treat each other, how we respect each other, how open we are to each other. So all this. So I think that's all I wanted to share at the moment.
Yeah. A few words at the end about leadership. But like Ilona, you said, it's the psychological safety is something that we are all responsible for. But of course, leadership is crucial. And if you want to have an organization or a team that innovates, then as a leader, what can you do? And there's a few words, and you've been part of creating this model for good leadership. So if you want to share shortly about this, there's the link where you can find more information, and then I'll share a few ideas about leadership, and then we'll have questions and comments from the audience.
Yeah, so this is at the moment the outcome of our work, good leadership group in Pare. It is in Estonian. This circle is in Estonian, but I translated a few things that are most important to highlight. So good leadership creates a competitive advantage for each and every organization. But in the core of this is the leader himself or herself. So where it says that the leader is accountable for the quality of leadership. And now if you go to Pare's website and click with your finger on these different words, there will be a pop-up window which actually is describing what does it mean to be to toetav töökeskkond, which is supportive work environment. What does it mean? How does a leader create a supportive work environment? And in my mind, or the way I see it, is psychological safety is inside this box. So it can be easily used for starting discussions in your organizations. It doesn't cost anything. And also the adjectives, how does a good leader look like in his or her behavior? It's that a good leader is honest, ethical, courageous. You can also click on these words and you should see what does it mean to be an ethical leader, and also what it doesn't mean. It should show you the examples, positive and those that are not positive. So that's probably, and if you want, I mean, I have said that I am going to promote this model in each and every organization. So invite me to your leadership event, free of charge. I come, I explain how we got here. Just one comment, maybe. Some people say, okay, it's written like for a child. It looks like very simple and naive. Well, the focus group or the target group for that type of define good leadership has been small and medium-sized Estonian organization. We have 85% in Estonia are small and medium-sized, where they might not even have an HR person, meaning the leaders themselves need to do all the so-called people-related tasks. So it's more a tool for leaders to understand, okay, it's me. So it's talking about me. Okay, what do I have to do? If I do this, then it's good. If I do that, then it's not good. So that's why it might look a little bit like, okay, everybody is honest. What are you talking about? But that's the background story.
Yeah. Thank you, Ilona. And I think like it's easy to say that these words are easy, but then if you think about even yourself living it out in everyday life and the situations that come, it's not always that easy to be courageous or to be, well, honesty, it should be something that we all aim for, but then somehow people end up covering up and lying and speaking kind of mixed truth. So I think it is important that we kind of lay the foundation. What does it mean to be a good leader? And last thought before we have comments and questions is that many times when we talk about leadership and we talk about how as a leader you can develop psychological safety, people tend to think that it's the soft skills of leadership. And then it's like we have this thought or mindset that these are opposites, having hard skills of leadership and soft skills. But actually what we need is the combination, and it kind of boils down to this courageous leadership that is able to connect the people with the strategy of the company and utilize both soft and hard skills of leadership to be able to kind of demand things or require certain performance, but then to do it in a meaningful and people centric way that creates psychological safety and not destroy it. And sometimes it's hard to kind of speak about these without the having these as opposites. But when we start to think of and speak about the customer value that we are trying to create in the company and in the team, then it's easier to understand that actually these two should be linked, and it is possible to link these two. And we have this idea that or we've experienced in our work that if you are too much on the hard side of leadership or too much on the soft side of leadership, then you are weak as a leader because you don't get the best results with your team or with your company by leading on the opposite spectrum of these skills. But you need to be able to integrate these and understand how to use them together. How does it look like? And then it kind of shows you what does it mean to be courageous leader. Yeah, but that's what we had in mind for this morning. Well, thanks Ilona that you joined, and I'll stop the recording now. So we'll have the floor is open for comments and questions, and you can open your mic and video if you want to.